we look at India's specific response to Bangladesh as it sends a reminder note on Sheikh Hasina, who is currently in exile in India. Thank you for joining us on Republic TV. Let's get you the news summarized with note assist using the Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Hasina's return to Dhaka sends a second notice demanding Sheikh Hasina's return soon. Bangladesh says it will send an urgency note to India next. Seems like Dhaka is in a hurry on the extradition. There is no official Indian response to Bangladesh yet, as Dhaka says they will wait for a certain time before responding. AIMIM, Owaisi's party, and Congress getting ready to give tickets in the upcoming Delhi elections to 2020 riot accused. And that was the news summarized with the note assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let's start our big story of the day. Show tonight, we look at India's specific response to Bangladesh as it sends a reminder note on Sheikh Hasina, who is currently in exile in India. Going across to some breaking news. First up on This Is Exclusive, as we focus on Bangladesh trying to push India for Sheikh Hasina's return. They have formally demanded India send back the ousted former Prime Minister. In fact, Dhaka has said they will wait for a certain period of time. Bangladesh seems to be in a tearing hurry. And India doesn't seem to be in a hurry to respond yet. Bangladesh says they will send another reminder to India soon, and then an urgency note. An urgency note will be sent. Here's the story so far as we track the latest details on Sheikh Hasina, who is in exile. What happens next is the big question. Well, it's been over 4 months after, or rather since, the Bangladesh former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina fled to India. And Dhaka has now sent a diplomatic note asking New Delhi to send Sheikh Hasina back. New Delhi has only said, yes, we have received the note. They're not in a hurry to respond, but Bangladesh seems to be in a tearing hurry. Today they have said, in fact, they're giving sound bites. It's very unlikely that diplomats give one soundbite after the next. And in Dhaka, there was a soundbite that came in today where top officials said that they will wait for India to respond only for a certain amount of time, and then they will send an urgency note asking India to ensure Sheikh Hasina is extradited. Here's the story so far.
Bangladesh's foreign ministry has said that they will resend a diplomatic note to India seeking former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's extradition. The first diplomatic note was received by India on the 23rd of December. Bangladesh's Foreign Affairs Advisor Tawhid Hussain has said that Sheikh Hasina's extradition is being sought to initiate legal proceedings against Hasina. Bangladesh-based International Crimes Tribunal has issued arrest warrants for Hasina and several former cabinet ministers, advisors and military and civil officials over charges of crimes against humanity and genocide. Bangladesh has also said that an extradition treaty exists between Dhaka and New Delhi already, and Hasina could be brought back under that treaty. Now remember, the treaty also has a provision for refusing extradition for political offences.
I think the extradition treaty between India and Bangladesh has various caveats which rule out extradition in case of political issues, but criminal issues are excluded from the political considerations. So all that is there, and these caveats can be used.
Meanwhile, Sheikh Hasina's son Sajib Wazid has accused the Yunus-led government of weaponizing the judiciary and carrying out a political witch hunt against Sheikh Hasina.
Veena Sikri is joining us live on This Is Exclusive. She's the former Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Ms. Sikri, do you find it unusual that Bangladesh is pressing India for Sheikh Hasina's return? I mean, in 24 hours, you've had two sets of communication come in, and then you've had different diplomats speaking on record, right? Unusual behavior.
Yes, I think first of all, one has to recognize that this extradition process, we do have an extradition agreement, there are all kinds of clauses in that, but the very fact of a request for extradition under the extradition treaty has to be accompanied by evidence of a completed, verifiable and good legal and judicial process. So what are the charges? Have they been proved? How have they been proved? You know, this is all accompanied by letters rogatory. This is how we have done it. This is what the charges are. Here is the evidence. None of that has been done. You cannot get an extradition on the basis of a note verbal. And I think our government has done absolutely the right thing by not giving any comments on this matter, by reserving its comments, because unless an extradition, a request for extradition is accompanied by the proper procedures and proper documentation, there is no obligation on the person, on the government receiving the note verbal to respond, because there are no documents at all. And following some evidence or the procedure, the legal evidence provided there, the procedure provided there, within India itself there is their own legal and judicial procedure. I saw the original note verbal, I mean the press reports on it, and saying that, you know, there's something called an exchange of prisoner agreement and we are making the request under this. Now this is ridiculous because Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is not a prisoner in India. She's here of her own free will. So, I mean, how can you make these kind of claims? I think that the way in which the judiciary has been treated in Bangladesh after the regime change operation and, you know, the fact that this government of President Mohammad Yunus is not a constitutionally valid government. They have been sworn in on a constitution which does not have a provision for an interim government. So we do not know why they are there, but even while they are there, they have attacked the earlier judiciary, the existing judiciary appointed by the legally elected government, and they have forced them to resign by sheer mob justice, by a kind of mobocracy, and then they have appointed judges in their own place. In fact, the person who was previously the defending prosecutor, prosecuting the defense in the international crimes trial going on in Bangladesh, that person has now been made head of the International Crimes Tribunal in Bangladesh. So, it doesn't give any kind of confidence as to how these appointments are being made. And then, for example, you have, the whole process of judiciary have been completely violated. You don't know under what process there are charges. Yes, there are charges of attempts of murder and so on. But what is the basis? What is the evidence? When the UN Human Rights Commission officials went to Bangladesh precisely to verify this question of murder charges and the number of people who had died in the last week of July or the early week of August, this UN Human Rights Commission has made 2 visits, but they have not been provided any evidence. They have said so themselves, that we have made 2 visits, but we don't know what is the evidence, and so we can make no conclusions about what happened. And then this government is now saying we want constitutional reform before elections and so on. It's a very difficult process there. So I think the Indian government was fully within its rights to withhold all comments and to say, well, we're just reserving our comments, that's all.
Ambassador Sikri, another question that I had. India, of course, has the right to refuse an extradition. There are different grounds for that. One of them is, of course, if the reason or the motive seems political, which in this case may be the reason, right? Now, secondly, going by the response of New Delhi, they're in no tearing hurry. They don't, they don't seem to be in a mood even to respond to Dhaka, right? Now, do you see in the days and weeks to come, going by the tearing hurry that Dhaka is in, do you see some sort of a flashpoint here?
No, as I said, the whole world knows. How can there be a flashpoint when the whole world knows the extradition process? Everybody is fully aware of what is an extradition process, what does it entail, what are the documents that have to be provided by the government requesting the extradition, what are the charges, and how have the charges been proved, and what is the evidence. All that has to be provided. Otherwise, the government receiving the request is certainly not obliged to respond, and certainly no extradition takes place on the basis of a diplomatic note verbal. There is no such thing as an extradition taking place on a diplomatic note verbal. The entire process has not even been initiated. We know that there are many people in Bangladesh, including journalists, by the way, because the media is completely gagged, and hundreds of journalists are in jail today in Bangladesh, also being charged with murder. But there's no evidence. Why have they been charged with murder? What are the murders they're being charged with? I mean, this kind of a situation, the legal judicial process in Bangladesh has been made, if I may say so, into something which is a joke. Yeah. It is not serious at all. You don't have this kind of procedures going on where, you file an FIR, say somebody's accused of so-and-so thing, and then say, okay, now send her back. We want her here. That's just not how it's done. So as I said once again, that our government was fully within its rights to reserve its comments on this subject, and I think it will continue to reserve its comments if there is no evidence provided. I do appreciate that yes, there are political offences for which extradition may be refused, and there is a question of criminal offences, but there is no such thing as just making a criminal offence just like that out of the blue. You just can't do that. What is the murders that are being charged with? What is it that is going on? So I think that the whole issue is a very complex legal and judicial process, and I think that whole legal and judicial process has to be gone through. First in Bangladesh, then in India. This is a very long drawn-out process. It normally takes years and years and years. I have been in other places where extradition requests were made, and I know how complex this process is and what it entails. So I don't think that just by sending a diplomatic note verbal, or even repeating it if they so choose, that they would get any kind of a response from the government of India in such quick time.
Yeah. Ambassador Veena Sikri, thank you for joining us on This Is Exclusive. Ambassador Sikri knows, a lot about India-Bangladesh relationship. She's served as the High Commissioner there in Dhaka. And it's interesting the way the story is progressing, with Bangladesh giving a comment almost daily now in the last 3 days on Sheikh Hasina's extradition. Right, and as we come to the end of this news wheel, let's record and summarize with note assist using Galaxy AI on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. So Dhaka will send a reminder letter to New Delhi soon. Bangladesh expected to send a reminder letter to New Delhi if the Indian government does not respond to the diplomatic note that is sent on Monday regarding the extradition of the ousted Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. Bangladesh has said so far we have not received any response from New Delhi through official channels and that we will wait for their reply, and if we don't receive one within a certain period, we will send a reminder letter, is what Mohammad Rafiqul Alam, the spokesperson for the Foreign Ministry in Bangladesh, has said. There you have it, the precise reading of the news in a simpler format using the Galaxy AI on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. We will be back with the headlines in a few minutes.